the cube, which I will explain now. Usually, the cube will handle the whole database. But the cube can handle more databases, or it could be the other side. It could read just part of the data warehouse. That's why some people confuse data warehouse with cubes. It's not a wrong thing, but you should just imagine this in this diagram, which will explain everything. From my work with BI people, this was a big surprise. Most of them didn't understand 100% what is happening here, even though they are working with BI. They get a global or a general idea, but not the whole thing. The first step when you think about a BI solution is, like it says here, you should know the problem. Why do you need the BI? You shouldn't just say, OK, BI is just great, let's implement BI. We're starting to have problems with reports, and the management requests something like, we need a lot of reports to analyze our future. The company starts to get big. That's when you start to think, oh, probably I need BI. So identifying the problem is the first step. And this should be done by experts, of course. The next step is to simply design. See, it's not this one, actually. You should design what? The data warehouse, how the data warehouse should look. You saw the fact table, right? Who decided the structure of that table? How much do we need to denormalize the data? There should be a point. So the second step is to design the data warehouse. And this requires the best experts in data modeling. It's not something that anybody who designed a database can do at a data warehouse. No, it's much more difficult. Once this is done, the next step is to get, OK, this is the data I need. I need the product dimension. I need this fact table and stuff. How do I get these data? Usually from a SQL Server or an Oracle database, some heterogeneous databases. But this is not always the answer. Sometimes it's Excel, right? They might tell you at the end of the year, we get an Excel file from somewhere, and we start working on it. So Excel might be your data source for this. Now, how do I load everything into this single data warehouse? This is what we call ETL. ETL. Yeah. Extract, transform, and then load. So extract the data, transform it into some way that should be like this, and then load it into the data warehouse. This is not a step that you will do once, right?
Using NDS?
What do you use is up to you. There are many tools. The tool we discuss here is integration services, right? SSIS. That comes with Visual Studio. I'm sorry, SQL Server. So you design something like the packages and stuff and SSIS. You start designing the packages to get the data over here. This is not your only option. You might decide, and I have seen this, to use something we call staging. Staging means get the data through T-SQL. You have some procedures or jobs that will run and get the data and store it into some intermediate tables. It's not the end, it's just a step. And then you start working on this table and loading the data into the relation. It's still called ETL. Okay? Usually, most companies prefer to use integration services or other tools, specific tools to handle this task. There was, by the way, integration services, there was a huge, Microsoft did a huge an announcement about how SSIS loaded 1 terabyte of data in 30 minutes to a data warehouse. This is amazing from my side. This is the fastest number, by the way, in the world. Not even Oracle could do this. Loaded an ETL in 1 terabyte in 30 minutes to a data warehouse. Anyway, this is the data warehouse. The data now is ready. This is the data which we call OLAP. Now I start to read this data to generate reports. So this is now separate from the OLTP database and stuff. I could actually read the data directly into applications. Yes, you can. You can create a .NET application that just reads the data. But I prefer, and experts prefer, to design something called cubes. Now, why do they call it cube? I think you've all noticed before I started, I was so busy on my laptop, I was actually drawing a cube in Microsoft Paint. I'm a bad drawer, but this is the best I could do. I'll show it to you in the next slide. I'll explain what a cube is. But a cube is like a step over here to make it a lot easier. There are many benefits for you in creating cubes. The most important thing is that cubes are very fast in reading the data from the data warehouse. It's much faster than just reading directly. Why? Cubes can pre-calculate data. You know the sales for the whole year. How do you think you use it? You just calculate it at runtime, right? Now cubes can pre-calculate before asking, which is very fast. So when you read, you're just reading a value instead of reading through a 1 million record or more, which is very fast. A lot of other stuff I will explain right now, like dimensions, hierarchies, and stuff. Complex navigation, which you call. In the end, a cube, the best thing about a cube is that it's easy accessible by Excel, Performance Point, SharePoint even. It's very easy from a SharePoint to access the cube and display the data at the end result. So the only step left here is how can you deliver the data? This one depends on you. You can either use one of these tools over here. I'm going to imagine, or I'm going to assume, that everything is done till this point. Huh? So you loaded the data, and it's already in the data warehouse. So what you need to do is you create the cube and stuff, because SSIS is a huge subject. You know that, I missed a point here, where usually 70% of your work is in here. You know why? Not because it's only complex. It always changes. You're reading from this database, and suddenly some guy from the SQL Server database tells you, no, we changed the structure of the table. We added new tables and stuff. So you need to change your ETL, right? And also dirty data. Dirty data is a big problem for data warehousing. People inserting multiple records, duplicate records. So you design something to fix this, and then after 1 year, you discover that, no, you still have duplicates. So you try and fix it. It's not a one-time process. You usually change your ETL every once in a while. That's why it's the most important step. But after it reaches here, you can work on cubes and stuff. What do you use for cubes? You use analysis services. It comes with SQL Server. I'll show it to you right now. So it's a product with Microsoft SQL Server that handles two stuff: cubes and data mining. So think about these two. I'll explain quickly what a cube is and what data mining is. So, cube. Before showing you all of this, let me show you the simple draw I just did quickly before I started this. Imagine this case. Ignore this for now. Imagine this case, the city, Riyadh. If you go to the east, somewhere high, and look at Kingdom Tower, let's say, there will be a specific view, right, for the Kingdom Tower. Now, if you go north, will it be the same view? No, but it's still the same thing, right? We're not talking about 2 dimensions. This is the important stuff. All of you are familiar with SQL Server tables. SQL Server tables are 2 dimensions, right? You have rows and columns. Now, the new thing is that we have now 3 or 4 or even more dimensions. Usually, you shouldn't go beyond 4 or 5. But I've seen people with 16 dimensions. Now, how can you imagine this? It's difficult. The human mind cannot imagine it easily. But I'll try to explain it in this way. See, usually, it's pretty easy for you if I tell you this. Give me the total sales for bikes in Saudi Arabia. This is easy, right? Because it's 2 dimensions. Now, if I also ask you to give me the total sales for bikes in 2002, it will still be easy to imagine, right? What if I tell you to get me all of these 3 together? Give me all of the sales in Saudi Arabia for 2002 for only this product, bikes. This is what I'm talking about. This is a cube. When you design a cube, you define the dimensions. Remember dim product? This is a dimension. So you go to a cube, you say, I need this dimension, the product. You also drag the dim time. There's a dimension for time. And then you also drag the country's dimension. Now you have 3 dimensions. Analysis services will handle all these 3 to give you the result, which is the sales. This is the idea behind analysis services and cubes. You can add more and more dimensions as required. So that's what we mean by a cube. Usually a cube is read from